The Odyssey of Cooper. It had been nearly a decade since Cooper had left Earth behind, embarking on humanity's most ambitious journey into the unknown. In that time, he had witnessed wonders beyond his wildest dreams, traversed the very fabric of space and time, and played a pivotal role in ensuring the survival of the human race. Yet, amidst all the grand achievements, his heart was forever drawn back to the small farmhouse he had once called home. As Cooper's aged eyes gazed out the viewport of the Endurance, the vast expanse of the Milky Way stretched out before him, a tapestry of shimmering stars and swirling nebulae. It had been a lifetime since he had last set foot on that familiar soil, since he had held his children in his arms. The memory of their faces, once so vivid, had faded with time, replaced by the haunting visages of those he had lost along the way. He thought of Amelia, his steadfast companion on this Odyssey, whose determination and unwavering hope had kept him going through the darkest of times. She had chosen to remain behind on the distant planet, her heart heavy with the weight of her own unfulfilled dreams. Cooper knew that he would never see her again, that the gulf between them was too vast to ever truly bridge. And then there was Murph, his daughter, whose brilliant mind had unlocked the secrets of the universe, guiding humanity to the brink of salvation. She had grown into a woman he could scarcely recognize, her once youthful features etched with the burden of leading a world on the precipice of collapse. How he longed to hold her, to tell her that everything would be all right, even as he knew that the harsh realities of their existence would never allow for such simple comforts. Cooper's reverie was interrupted by the soft hum of the Endurance's engines as the massive ship drifted through the endless void. He knew that his time was running short, that the fragile balance of the world he had left behind hung in the balance. With a deep breath, he steeled himself for the monumental task that lay ahead. His journey had begun so many years ago, when the world had teetered on the edge of ruin. The blight had ravaged the land, choking the life from the soil and leaving humanity on the brink of starvation. Cooper, a former NASA pilot turned reclusive farmer, had watched helplessly as his children's future slipped away, the once lush cornfields reduced to barren wastelands. It was then that the call had come, a desperate plea from the remnants of the space program. They had discovered a wormhole, a gateway to a distant galaxy that offered the promise of a new home for humanity. But they needed pilots, courageous souls willing to venture into the unknown, to find a way to ensure the survival of their species. Cooper had been torn. The thought of leaving his family, of abandoning the only life he had ever known, was almost unbearable. But the image of his children, their faces hollowed by hunger and despair, haunted him. He knew that he had to act, that the fate of the world rested on his shoulders. And so, with a heavy heart, Cooper had said his goodbyes, promising Murph that he would return, that he would find a way to save them all. The journey that followed was one of unimaginable hardship and sacrifice, an odyssey that would test the limits of his endurance and his faith. Through the wormhole, Cooper and his crew had encountered a strange new world, a planet shrouded in the mysteries of a distant time. There, they had discovered the remnants of a vanished civilization, clues that hinted at the existence of a higher power, a force that had orchestrated their very existence. It was a revelation that shook Cooper to his core, shattering his beliefs and forcing him to confront the true nature of humanity's place in the cosmos. He had thought that their mission was one of exploration, of finding a new home for their species. But now, he realized that they were but pawns in a game played by forces beyond their understanding. As they delved deeper into the secrets of this alien world, Cooper and his crew faced unimaginable challenges. They battled against the relentless pull of time, their very bodies and minds warped by the distortions of the space-time continuum. They encountered strange and wondrous beings, creatures that seemed to exist outside the bounds of their reality, and struggled to comprehend the implications of their discoveries. Through it all, Cooper's driving force remained the same, the desperate need to return home, to reunite with his family and ensure their survival. He knew that the fate of the world rested on his shoulders, that the knowledge he had gained could be the key to humanity's salvation. But the road back was fraught with obstacles, both physical and emotional. Cooper had to confront the painful realization that the world he had left behind had irrevocably changed, that the loved ones he had cherished were no longer the same. The passage of time had taken its toll, and he found himself grappling with the idea that he may have been gone for far too long. As the Endurance drew ever closer to Earth, Cooper's heart raced with a mixture of anticipation and dread. What would he find when he returned? Would his family even recognize him? Would they have managed to survive the ravages of the blight and the collapse of civilization? The closer he got, the more his mind was consumed by these questions, the weight of his responsibilities weighing heavily on his shoulders. He knew that the fate of humanity rested on his shoulders, that the knowledge he had gained could be the key to their salvation. But he also knew that he had sacrificed so much that the personal cost of his journey had been almost unbearable. As the Endurance touched down on the familiar soil of his childhood farm, Cooper felt a surge of emotion wash over him. The world had changed, that much was clear. The once lush fields were now barren, the farmhouse weathered and dilapidated. But amidst the decay, he saw glimmers of hope. A small garden struggling to take root, a few chickens pecking at the ground, and in the distance, a figure that seemed to grow ever closer. Cooper's breath caught in his throat as he recognized the familiar silhouette, the once youthful face now etched with the lines of age and hardship. It was Murph, his daughter, now a grown woman, her eyes shining with a mixture of disbelief and joy. They embraced, their tears mingling as the weight of their separation finally found release. Cooper held her close, drinking in the familiar scent of her hair, the warmth of her touch. In that moment, all the trials and tribulations of his journey faded away, replaced by a profound sense of relief and reconnection. As they pulled apart, Murph gazed up at him, her eyes filled with a wisdom that belied her years. "You've been gone a long time, Dad," she said softly, her voice tinged with a hint of sadness. Cooper nodded, his heart heavy with the realization of how much he had missed. "I'm sorry, Murph," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "I tried, I really did. But the mission, the things I've seen, they changed me in ways I never could have imagined." Murph reached up and gently touched his face, her expression understanding. "I know, Dad. I know." She paused, her brow furrowing with concern. "But you're here now, and that's what matters. We have so much to catch up on." Cooper felt a surge of relief wash over him, mingled with a deep sense of foreboding. He knew that the work was far from done, that the fate of the world still hung in the balance. But for now, in the embrace of his daughter, he allowed himself a moment of respite, a chance to reconnect with the life he had once known. As they made their way towards the dilapidated farmhouse, Cooper's mind raced with the countless questions he longed to ask. How had Murph and the rest of his family fared in his absence? What had become of the world he had left behind? And most importantly, had his journey made a difference, or had he simply been a pawn in a game beyond his understanding? The answers, he knew, would not come easily. The road ahead would be fraught with challenges, both physical and emotional. But as he stepped over the threshold of the familiar home, Cooper felt a renewed sense of purpose, a determination to right the wrongs of the past and ensure a brighter future for his family and all of humanity. The journey, it seemed, was far from over.